The following program is brought to you by the Edina Crime Prevention Fund.
Welcome to Beyond the Badge, a program about the inner workings of the Edina Police Department. Thanks for joining us. I'm Officer Brian Hubbard. With school back in session, the Edina Police Department is reminding motorists to slow down in school zones. When classes started September 8th, drivers were met with new speed limits around many schools in the community. The 15 and 20 mile per hour speed limits were the result of an extensive Safe Routes to School study recently completed by the city. The purpose of the study was to determine and implement school speed zones that will provide safer conditions for students who walk or bike to class. Before the study, Edina had no school speed zones and a 30 miles per hour speed limit around schools.
Student safety is our number one priority, and it's all of our responsibility. What we're seeing is more traffic, and what we need to do is make sure that we're controlling the traffic the best we can to keep safety as our top priority in and around our schools, and I think this is a great step in that effort.
School speed zones are now in place around Concord, Cornelia, Countryside, Creek Valley, Highlands, and Normandale Elementary Schools, Valley View and Southview Middle Schools, Edina High School, and Our Lady of Grace School. While other traffic safety improvements were made, there are currently no school speed zones around Calvin Christian or St. Peter's Lutheran schools. Whether on a city street, highway, or county road, and regardless of the speed limit and number of lanes, motorists traveling in both directions must stop when approaching a stopped school bus. National School Bus Safety Week takes place every October, and this year's theme is Avoid Harm, Obey the Stop Arm. Officer Aaron White is with Edina Public Schools Director of Transportation David White with more on school bus safety.
Thanks, Brian. I'm at the Edina Public Schools bus garage on Eden Avenue today with David White, who's Supervisor of Transportation Services. Thanks for being with us today, David.
Oh, you're welcome.
How long have you been with the district?
I started out with the school district in 1986 as a bus driver.
Okay, and now you're kind of in charge of the whole transportation operation.
Yes, yep. I became supervisor in 1995.
Now, you said you were a driver when you started out in 86.
Yep.
What's changed? Is there any differences in the training or qualifications to drive a bus? What kinds of things are required of your bus drivers?
We require drivers to at least be 21 years old. They would need to take some written tests through the state of Minnesota. After they take a written test, we'll do a comprehensive behind-the-wheel training. We also do background checks through the state of Minnesota, and we also do drug and alcohol pre-employment testing.
What about the buses themselves? You do your own maintenance at your facility. What types of maintenance and inspections are involved?
Yeah, at Edina Schools we do our own maintenance. We have 3 full-time mechanics on staff that are here 8 hours a day every day. The first thing that happens is we do bring every bus in for an inspection every 500 or 1,000 miles. Regardless of what they're doing and when, like I say, we pull it in off the road. At that time, we'll go through the bus completely from top to bottom, inside and out, looking for any defects that need to be fixed. That's kind of our first line of defense. And then we depend on the drivers to report any problems that they see with the bus when they're out on the road.
Safety is definitely a top concern, both behind the scenes as well as on the bus. Seems like another big factor is the other drivers on the road. Can you give us some refresher on the common sense and the laws that other drivers should keep in mind when they're driving around your school buses?
Yeah, drivers always need to remember that, when they see a school bus, there's probably kids around. Either they're getting off or they're going to be getting on. So they need to really watch their speed around the school bus.
The biggest concern is probably stopping or yielding for buses displaying the red lights and the stop arms.
When you see the amber lights come on, you know that the bus is preparing to stop. When the bus stops, if there's traffic that's very, very close to the bus driver will let those cars go, and then he'll put the stop arm out. So then the red lights will come on, the stop arm will come out, and the drivers need to stop. Not next to the stop arm, but behind the bus or way in front of the bus.
Okay. In the event somebody doesn't stop, your bus drivers are actually trained to report that. Is that correct?
Yes. The bus drivers do watch out for stop arm violators. They get the license plate number and any description that they have. There's a form that we fill out and we fax it over to the police department right away.
David, finally, if students are having any issues or parents have any concerns, who should they contact? Should they contact you guys here at the bus garage or go to the school district, or who's the best point of contact for those types
The best point of contact is us at the bus garage. If there's a concern with students on the bus or a bus stop or the driver himself, to call us right away and let us know what's going on so we can tackle the issue.
Well, safety is certainly the number one concern with buses.
Yes, it is.
Right. Well, David, thanks for being with us, talking about school bus safety.
Thanks, Aaron, for coming out and spending time checking out the school buses and talking about safety. It is a very important issue.
We certainly appreciate your time. And Brian, we'll go back to you in the studio.
It's 10 o'clock. Where are your kids? It's a question you shouldn't be asking. When sharing important safety information with your kids this fall, be sure to talk about curfew. In Edina, unaccompanied minors ages 15 to 17 must be out of public areas by 11 p.m. on weeknights and midnight on Fridays and Saturdays. For 12 to 14-year-olds, the curfew is 10 p.m. on weeknights and 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. And for children under 12, it is 9 p.m. on weeknights and 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Southview and Valley View Middle Schools recently welcomed a new school resource officer. Officer Dan Conboy has been a police officer for 10 years, primarily in patrol. He says he is looking forward to the change in focus and the opportunity to work with school staff and students. Dan has offices at both Southview and Valley View Middle Schools and will work closely with Officer Kenna Dick, who has started her second year as school resource officer at Edina High School. Let's go back to Aaron, who is in the field with Officer Dick, to tell us more about the roles and responsibilities of school resource officers.
Thank you, Brian. We're at Edina High School today talking to School Resource Officer Kenna Dick. Kenna, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you.
So you've been a school resource officer for a year. You're starting your second year this fall here at the high school.
That's right.
And we have another school resource officer, Dan Conboy, starting his first year, and he's over at Southview and Valley View. Is that correct?
You got it. And he also tends to any of the elementary schools if they need any help.
Well, Kenna, give us a day in the life. What do you do out here at Edina High School?
Well, every day is different, and that's kind of why I like this job so much. My primary role here is to keep the safety and security of the students as well as the staff here. Work a lot with the community as well as the staff members here to ensure that safety. We also do a lot of things like teach classes and attend meetings, and then also obviously tend to any criminal activity that happens inside the school.
What classes do you teach?
Well, one of my favorite classes that we teach is the DWI class. I love teaching about that, but we also teach classes such as Fourth Amendment, maybe some school bus safety classes, whatever they need us to teach.
So you've kind of gone back to school.
Yes.
What's been a big surprise? Any things been surprising to you coming back here?
It brings back a lot of memories when I was in high school, but I'm really surprised at how many relationships and stuff that I've built with the students. It's really fun.
Would you say the reaction is overly positive to having a police officer in school? I'm guessing students nowadays are kind of familiar with police officers being in the school, whereas parents, teachers, staff maybe didn't grow up in environments where that was the case.
Mm-hmm. It is a fairly new type of thing to have a police officer in the school, but I think it's a great thing because a lot of times the students have negative contacts outside of school with the police, but here, being the police liaison here, you really have a chance to make a good contact with the students, whether it be teaching classes like I talked about before.
Do you play a role then in enforcing school rules and policies? Is there kind of a separation there between the police role and the role of enforcing their rules and regulations?
There is a separation. Obviously my primary role is to enforce the criminal and the law, but if the school needs help with assisting any school rules, we definitely help out with that.
So Kenna, what are some of the most common issues you deal with the students here and in the school environment?
I would say the number one issue that we deal with, or I deal with on a daily basis, is probably theft. People and students bring a lot of items of value to school, iPods, cell phones, that can easily be taken.
Do you have a tip there? Is there a message for students on how they might avoid that?
Well, sure. I would say the easiest way is not to bring items of value such as iPods and those type of things to school. Keep them safe at home.
You were recently involved in starting a program called Tip 411.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
I'm really excited about this program because so many times people are hesitant to call in tips to the police department because they want to remain anonymous. So Tip 411 allows people to text in anonymous tips into the police department. All you need to do is send EPD tip and your message to Tip 411, and the police department gets the anonymous tip. From there, Our dispatch center, who receives the message, has the ability to chat with the tipster and gain more information. So
And it's totally anonymous. Okay.
completely anonymous. So I'm really hoping it'll help a lot here at the school because the younger generation, is so involved with texting.
How can students and parents get a hold of you if they want to talk about a specific issue or if they have additional questions?
Well, they can stop by. I have an office right in the main office, a couple doors down from the principal's office. Otherwise, they can call me at 952-848-3809. Otherwise, if you go to the Edina High School website, you can find my email on there too.
Great. And you work all the regular school days, the normal school schedule, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Kenna, thank you very much for
Thank
being
you.
with us today. Kenna Dick, School Resource Officer here at Edina High School. We'll go back to Brian in the studio.
In each episode of Beyond the Badge, we take an in-depth look at different ways viewers can protect themselves from crime. This month, we're focusing on a common scam, theft in shopping areas, and vehicle break-ins. First, an urgent request to wire transfer money is often the sign of a scam. The grandparent scam works like this. A scammer calls an elderly person and identifies him or herself as the victim's grandchild. The phony grandchild tells the victim that he's had a major crisis and is in need of money quickly. The grandchild then asks that money be wired through MoneyGram or Western Union, sometimes to a Walmart in Canada. Of course, the real grandchild is usually safe and sound and nowhere near where the scammer claims to be. Avoid being a victim. Never give out your personal information. Be suspicious, especially with something that has to be done immediately. Ask a lot of questions and contact other family members to confirm the story before sending any money. Never leave your purse or wallet in your cart while shopping. The Edina Police Department has received dozens of reports of theft at local supermarkets. In most cases, victims have placed their purses in their carts. Even though a victim might never leave the cart unattended, a perpetrator can snatch a wallet out of a purse in just a few seconds while the shopper is browsing or taking items off the shelf. Because the entire purse is not stolen, a victim might not realize the theft has occurred until getting to the store's checkout. By that time, sometimes as long as 30 or 60 minutes later, the thief could have already used the credit cards in the wallet. With the holidays fast approaching and people doing more shopping, we'd like to remind you not to leave any purchases in your vehicles, even if you lock the doors. In recent years, the police department has seen an increase in the number of thefts from autos parked outside of retail stores. Near the holidays, shoppers might spend an entire day at the mall. After making several purchases, they take their bags to the car, lock up, and return to the mall for more shopping. Later, when the shopper returns, he finds his car has been broken into and all his purchases have been stolen. If you must leave valuables in your car, always lock them out of sight. From avoiding theft from your vehicle to burglar-proofing your home, it's the job of one member of the Edina Police Department to share valuable safety messages and tips with the public. Let's go back to Erin, who is with Crime Prevention Specialist Amy Granis, to tell us how we can all lead safer lives.
Thanks, Brian. I'm with Amy Granis, who is Crime Prevention Specialist with the Edina Police Department. Amy, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
I want to talk a little bit about home security surveys. What does a home security survey involve?
It's an on-site assessment of your residence or business. We do residential and commercial. And what it is a walkthrough that I do with the person, either the homeowner or the business owner, and I give them suggestions on how they can improve their security, either from locks to lighting to security systems.
Okay, and it is available both to homeowners and business owners.
Correct.
And is there any charge for the service?
No, this is a free service that is funded by the Crime Prevention Fund.
Okay, and then you leave them with some information that they can take and use to improve their security?
Absolutely. It's a written assessment that I leave them a copy, and so they have something to refer back to when they go to improve their security.
Okay. What are some of the more common issues you're seeing with homes in Edina?
With homes, actually, it's back to basics again. People are not locking their doors and windows at night, and those should always be locked at night. And also lighting. Lighting is a quick, easy deterrent for everybody. We recommend motion lights. Motion lights are a great, cost-effective way to deter and improve your security.
Garage doors, also a common point of entry, I understand.
Absolutely. In the summertime especially, people just forget to close those garage doors at night, and people can just wander in anytime during the night and take whatever they want.
Simple tip, pretty easy to avoid becoming a victim of that crime. That's really a crime of opportunity, is it not?
Absolutely. And with these tips, I mean, crime prevention is kind of everybody's responsibility. And they're quick, easy, cost-effective things that people can do just to save them the trouble and the hassle from being a victim of a crime.
You touched on lighting. Can you talk a little bit more about some options, maybe a lower cost option than a security system by improving home lighting?
Motion lights, again, work great. They only go on when something sets them off, so they're not on all the time, so they're not using a lot of electricity, and they can be put anywhere where you have a fixture that's already wired. And they're great in backyards and in garages on sides of homes. They work really great. Another thing you can do is if you're traveling and you're away, you can use timers, and we recommend using timers and putting a light in a radio on this timer, so then it would go off at different periods in the night, and it gives the appearance that someone is up and awake.
Sure. What other resources does the police department have available to citizens regarding crime prevention?
We have a great website at cityofedina.com, and if you click on the website, go to the police department. If you click on crime prevention, I'm there, and I have all sorts of different tips, from theft from autos to residential security to what type of things your kids are doing on computers to babysitter safety. Any kind of crime prevention tip you can think of, it's on there.
That's great. Most important of all, how do I set up a home security survey?
You can call me directly at the police department, or you can go online to our website, and we have an online form that you can fill out, and I can get you scheduled. And again, it's like 45 minutes long. It's a quick, easy, free on-site assessment, and it gives great security tips to make your home safer.
Excellent. And best of all, free of charge.
Of course.
No reason not to take advantage of that.
Exactly.
So, okay. Amy, thank you very much for sharing some information about the program and about crime prevention in Edina today.
Thank you very much.
Amy Granis is Crime Prevention Specialist with the Edina Police Department. And we'll go back to Brian.
Thanks, Aaron, for bringing us that important message. Besides conducting security surveys and developing crime prevention tips, Amy also works to plan Night to Unite. This annual night out is held the first Tuesday in August to encourage neighborhoods to create community partnerships. Edina's Night to Unite is a local celebration modeled after National Night Out. Dozens of Edina neighborhoods participated in the 2009 Night to Unite and were visited by members of both the Edina Police and Fire Departments. Mark your calendars now for the next Night to Unite, August 3rd, 2010. On behalf of my co-host, Officer Aaron White, and the rest of the officers of the Edina Police Department, thanks for tuning in to learn a little bit more of what goes on beyond the badge. Stay safe.
This program was made possible by the generous support of the Edina Crime Prevention Fund.